You know, Zach Krieger is one of the most exciting filmmakers out there right now. He did Barbarian, he did Weapons, which is one of the year's best films. And, you know, everybody's got their eyes on what's he going to do. I think he's doing an Evil Dead movie
He's
or
doing Resident Evil.
Resident Evil, not Evil Dead, Resident Evil. He's working on. And then what's coming after that? Well, apparently he's been working on this film called The Flood. He's working on this screenplay for The Flood. And Netflix is really interested in it. But according to a new report coming out of the Wrap, he's saying no, unless Netflix gives him a theatrical commitment, and they're not willing to do that. Now he may not do it. This comes to us from the folks over at the Wrap who wrote the following. The next film from Weapons filmmaker Zach Krieger, sci-fi original The Flood, has stalled at Netflix over the streamer's refusal to give the movie a theatrical release. Now, how did it come to this? It explains. Krieger wrote the original film at Emblem Entertainment under the studio's deal with Netflix. And after Weapons blew up this summer, making $267 million worldwide, Netflix tried to get Krieger's commitment to make his film with Netflix. But Netflix CEO Ted Sarandos later shot down the prospect of a theatrical release for The Flood, and with Krieger adamant that he wants to make the movie for theaters. The real question is whether Netflix backs down or they let Krieger take it out to another studio, because Zach remains committed to a theatrical release. All right. So to kind of unwind this whole thing, Krieger wrote the film for Amblin. Amblin's got a deal with Netflix that apparently has some kind of first look deal with Netflix. Netflix saw what he wrote, loved it, and they do want to make this movie if Krieger's going to make it for them. So one of the executives from Netflix went to Krieger, tried to court him, and even floated the idea of a theatrical release in front of him. To which Krieger was like, okay, let's keep talking. And it was later, the report says, that Ted Sarandos stepped in and said, no theatrical release for you, is apparently what Sarandos said. And now the reports are saying Krieger is kind of digging in, saying, then I don't want to make a movie with you if it's not going to be theatrical. Rob, when you look at the films that Krieger has done, they got a presence, they got a foothold because they played in theaters.
Yeah.
And he knows it. And that's where his love is. I remember he spoke on stage at CinemaCon.
Yep.
And he's so passionate about films. He's passionate about the theatrical experience. He's passionate about movie going, and he's passionate about that's where he wants his movies to be seen. So this isn't one of those situations where he signed a deal with Netflix and then was like, wait a minute, Netflix, you don't want to put it in theaters? No. He wrote it for somebody else. Through the winding path of rights and licenses, Netflix has the first rights on it. They want to make it, and they want to make it with him because he's the guy who did Weapons. He's saying, unless you give me a theatrical, which they initially kind of suggested they might be willing to give him theatrical, he's saying, I'm not interested. Rob, do you think that Netflix maybe bends a little bit on this and maybe gives him something that he wants? Or do we expect to see this movie get made elsewhere? What do you think?
Well, the one thing is, I think you actually pointed out that Zach Krieger's strength is playing to the audience. I mean, Weapons, I can't imagine. I saw it in a theater with a lot of people. I can't imagine that it would have been nearly as fun seeing it by myself.
Yeah.
And
yes.
The same was true of Barbarian. And let me tell you this movie, The Flood, is something that I would like to call Zach Krieger's space movie. That's all I'm going to say. I want to see this movie in a theater. I know I want to see this movie in a theater for various reasons you might guess at. But I really hope that this movie makes it into a theater, because this movie is designed to be seen with an audience going, oh my God, that's all I can tell you. And for them to not put this in a theater, I don't get it, man. I mean, I don't even understand why don't they just let Apple took F1 to Warner Brothers to distribute. Why doesn't Netflix make a deal with a studio to distribute their movies for them theatrically if they just don't care? And then the studio will be like, hey, guess what? Your movie made $200 million. Here's $200 million. and they don't even have to worry about it. And then they put it up on their streamer, and they get the value added from a great theatrical release promoted by a motion picture studio who will take 25%. I don't get it. I don't get why Netflix is so adamantly really opposed to going theatrical when every metric tells us that if a movie is successful theatrically, I mean, John,
even if it's not successful theatrically, the fact that it got theatrical first boosts its debut on streaming.
I mean, Barbarian was a $4.5 million movie. First of all, Netflix doesn't even know how to make a movie for $4.5 million at that budget level, and it made over $40 million domestically. That's a hit. Weapons, a $38 million movie without marketing, makes over $250 million worldwide. Zach Cregger is a theatrical director. Now, look, I don't know, maybe they expect everybody to be like David Fincher. You know, Netflix makes his passion project. His father wrote Mank, and now David Fincher's locked into doing Netflix movies. I get it. I understand. But Zach Cregger doesn't have to do that. And he's understood. He's made 2 movies in his life, and both were wildly successful at the box office based on their budget. Why would you want to just make a movie for a streamer now when your career's ascendant? You know, it's just, all I can say is that The Flood is a movie that demands to be seen in a theater with a bunch of people.
And look, I'm just going to throw this out there too. Like I get Netflix's number one responsibility is about doing what's best for Netflix.
Yeah.
But the point, Rob, that you and I continue to make is, okay, Netflix, here's the thing. This is data. This is proven, okay? It's not a question anymore. This is pure data that has shown us this. Let's say he makes this movie for you and you drop it on Netflix and it gets 12 million views in the first 24 hours. Okay. The data tells us that if you put this movie in a theatrical run first and then you put it on Netflix, well, your first weekend on Netflix isn't going to get 12 million views in the first 24 hours. It's going to get 30 million views in the first 24 hours. Like, so if you're Netflix, the best thing to do for Netflix is, I'm not even asking them to be benevolent and like to do what's best for the movie industry as a whole. I'm not asking them to do that. Do what's best for Netflix. What is best for Netflix is to make a film with this guy, give it a theatrical run, and then put it on Netflix later, and Netflix will get more success from it. And that's the part, I know we keep saying that part over and over again, Rob, but I just don't know why Ted Sarandos isn't getting it.
And then they get the money back that they spent on the movie.
Yeah.
Like
right away they make their money back.
I don't get the idea that, look, they'll spend $450 million to make 2 more Knives Out movies. The first Knives Out movie made over $300 million theatrically. If you're spending $450 million to make 2 movies, why not, if the opportunity exists, if they put a Glass Onion in theaters and made it a worldwide release, building on the success of Knives Out, that movie might have made $500 million worldwide. Netflix covers the budgets of both movies, and they have the theatrical presence, and more people would watch Glass Onion. I don't understand the thinking at all. They're just adamantly against theatrical for whatever reason. They don't like it. They don't want it. I don't get it.
Anyway, guys, question is for you. What do you think about this? I applaud Zach Cregger for like digging in his heels and saying, no, my movies are for theaters. And if you want a piece of it, agree to make it for theaters. And it's not like he's asking Netflix to stab themselves in the leg. This would be good for Netflix. I don't know. I hope he holds his ground on this. But the question is for you guys, what do you think about it? Whatever your thoughts are, jump down to the comment section below and leave your thoughts there. Hey guys, thanks so much for watching this video. Make sure you like the video, leave a comment, and subscribe to our channel. And don't forget, we have a daily podcast called the John Campea Show podcast, available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or your favorite podcasting app of choice. Go and subscribe to it today so it'll be there when you need it.